In the world of football, the ultimate proof of a coach's knowledge was always thought to be their playing pedigree. But what if the greatest football team ever assembled was built by a man who sold shoes? Arrigo Sacchi's journey is the ultimate story of audacity. A former amateur defender who, armed with only a radical vision, walked into AC Milan's palace of prestige and rebuilt it from the ground up, forever changing the way the game is played. He was the ultimate outsider, and he brought about the ultimate revolution. Welcome to Luxe Legends, where fame, fortune, and controversy collide. Section 1. The Revolutionary from the Shoe Factory. What gives a man the confidence to challenge institutional dogma in a sport as steeped in tradition as Italian calcio? Arrigo Sacchi was born and raised in Fusignano, a quiet town in northeast Italy. He came from modest roots, and his childhood was steeped in the work ethic of the Emilia-Romagna region. He played as a modest amateur defender for his local club, a role he struggled with due to his small stature and lack of natural grace, but therefore his passion for the mechanisms of the game, the tactics, the systems, the collective movement, burned with an intellectual fire. His lack of physical talent meant he quickly had to find a career outside the sport, leading him to work as a shoe salesman and director in his father's factory. He was succeeding in the business world, earning a comfortable, lucrative salary, but therefore his mind was constantly consumed by tactical formations, the high-pressing systems of the legendary Budapest Honvéd, and the total football of Rinus Michels. He held radical ideas that were completely opposite to Italy's deeply defensive and individualized Catenaccio style. But therefore, at the age of 26, he took the monumental risk of abandoning his secure financial future to become a full-time coach, believing his vision was worth more than his salary. He started managing local amateur side Baracca Lugo. His older players, men who had played at a higher amateur level, scoffed at being managed by a man who was barely their contemporary and lacked professional experience. But therefore, Sacchi relied solely on intellectual dominance, meticulous planning, and relentless demands for physical fitness to earn their respect. He knew the outside world was questioning his legitimacy, but therefore he formulated the legendary quote that defined his career, firing back at his critics. "I never realized to be a good jockey, you first had to be a horse." This defiant intellectual arrogance was the shield of a revolutionary. Section 2. The Parma breakthrough and the arrival of power. How did a coach from the Italian third division, a man ridiculed for his past profession, convince one of the world's most ambitious billionaires to hand him the reins to a fallen European giant? Arrigo Sacchi spent years grinding through the lower divisions, coaching youth teams and smaller clubs like Rimini and Fiorentina. His consistent success with developing youth and creating high-energy, pressing teams was noticed, but his greatest tactical victory came at Parma. He led the small club to promotion and, more importantly, instilled his aggressive philosophy perfectly. They were a team of young unknowns, but therefore they played with the tactical sophistication of European champions. The biggest moment came in the Coppa Italia against AC Milan. Milan, one of Italy's grand old clubs, was the clear favorite, laden with established stars. But therefore Parma, under Sacchi's direction, executed a perfect, sophisticating high press and zonal marking system, defeating the giant. This result was seismic, not just for the win, but for the effect it had on Milan's new owner, Silvio Berlusconi. A media mogul with limitless ambition and staggering wealth, Berlusconi was furious at the loss, but therefore he was completely captivated by Sacchi's revolutionary, high-intensity system that suffocated his superstar-laden team. Berlusconi ignored the traditionalists who scoffed at hiring a Serie A B coach with no playing past, but therefore he offered Sacchi the job as manager in 1987, handing the shoe salesman the keys to the Milan empire. This was the ultimate risk, betting a multi-million-dollar vision on an amateur's tactical genius. Sacchi's first meeting with the Milan squad, full of seasoned Italian internationals, was challenging, but therefore he immediately challenged them back, stating, "I may come from Fusignano, but what have you won?" The revolution had begun.
Section 4. Conquering Europe, the ultimate dynasty. How did Sacchi's tactical masterpiece manage to not just win the European Cup, but psychologically break the will of the continent's best teams with sheer, beautiful aggression? The 1988 to 1990 AC Milan team remains the gold standard for European club dominance, a club built on a blend of Italian defensive steel and Dutch attacking innovation. They didn't just win the European Cup, they annihilated the competition with a style that was simultaneously aggressive and beautiful. Their high defensive line, anchored by Baresian Paolo Maldini, compressed the field, and their coordinated zonal marking and pressing destroyed opposition time and space. Their greatest performance came in the 1989 European Cup semi-final against the mighty Real Madrid. Madrid was a formidable power, and the first leg had ended 1-1, a tense, respectable result, but therefore Sacchi instructed his team to discard caution and attack Madrid relentlessly in the second leg at San Siro. What followed was a 90-minute masterclass. Milan overwhelmed the Spaniards with a mesmerizing display of total football that resulted in a shocking 5-0 victory. This result sent a seismic shockwave across Europe. They easily won the final and then repeated the feat the following year, winning the European Cup twice in a row, the last team to achieve that under the traditional knockout format. They conceded almost no goals in the knockout stages of those two victorious campaigns, a testament to Sacchi's defensive mastery. Their consecutive victories confirmed their status as arguably the greatest club team of all time, but therefore this obsessive commitment to the collective had a high cost, ultimately leading to internal conflicts. Section 5. The Azzurri Challenge, Controversy, and the Price of Perfection. Can a genius who demands absolute perfection maintain his sanity and his job when dealing with the imperfect reality of the international game? After conquering club football, Sacchi took on the ultimate challenge, managing the Italian national team Azzurri in 1991. His goal was to impose his revolutionary style on the conservative national setup, but therefore he immediately struggled with the limitations of international football, where time for training and intense system building was scarce. Tenure was a success in results, leading Italy to the 1994 World Cup final in the US, but therefore it was constantly marred by internal controversy over his philosophy. He was accused of valuing the system over individual flair, most notably his complex relationship with Roberto Baggio. Baggio was the artistic genius who carried the team, but therefore Sacchi often substituted him, believing Baggio did not fit his rigid pressing requirements. Italy reached the final against Brazil, a grueling, hot affair, but therefore Baggio missed the decisive penalty, securing a heartbreaking loss and placing the blame squarely on the shoulders of the demanding coach. The years that followed were difficult. Sacchi struggled with the constant pressure and the relentless demands of his own perfectionism. A brief, disastrous return to AC Milan and a short spell at Atletico Madrid ended prematurely due to a stress-related illness. His genius was undeniable, but therefore his demanding, obsessive nature proved unsustainable in the long term, forcing him to step away from the daily grind of management. In retirement, he caused further controversy with candid and sometimes racially insensitive comments about foreign players in Italian youth teams, but therefore he maintained that his history, which included championing the Dutch 3-0, proved that he was only concerned with losing national identity, not color. Section 6. The Unplayed Emperor and His Luxe Legacy. What does the former shoe salesman who reshaped the DNA of football do when he is no longer on the pitch? How does his genius translate into lasting influence and immense wealth? Today, Arrigo Sacchi is an oracle of modern football, a visionary whose impact is felt in every major league, from the pressing of Liverpool to the positional play of Manchester City. He's a multi-millionaire, having leveraged his revolutionary fame into lucrative consulting and media roles across Europe, serving as an analyst for major broadcasters. His wealth and status contrast sharply with his shoe-selling past, but therefore his principles of high pressing, compactness, and zonal marking have become the absolute standard for elite football globally. He commands immense respect, advising top coaches and being honored with the UEFA President's Award, a testament to his enduring contribution. Though he is long removed from the stress of the pitch and lives a comfortable, well-financed retirement, but therefore he has never stopped studying the game, often contemplating a return to management to prove his methods still work in the modern age.